Told you people don't test me. The words cut through the bank lobby like a verdict. Public, deliberate, dripping with something darker than authority. Maya's wrist wrenched behind her back, cartilage popping, and then the shove came. Her knees hit marble first. The crack echoed. Then her shoulder, then her cheek, skin dragging across cold stone. She tasted copper, felt the heat spreading across her lip where it split. Breathing became geometry. Shallow angle in, hold, release through teeth. The knee between her shoulder blades made sure of that. 200 pounds of deliberate pressure turning her ribcage into a vice. Boots squeaked, adjusted. The man above her shifted his weight like he was settling in. Stay down! Louder now, a performance. And Maya understood why. The silence wasn't silence at all. Phones, dozens of them. The soft chime of a video starting. Then another. Another. Red recording dots everywhere. Tiny digital witnesses floating in her peripheral vision. Camera flashes turning the moment into evidence. Someone gasped. A woman's voice shaking. Oh my God, is she… No one finished the question. No one moved to help. They just filmed. Around her, the wreckage. Lipstick rolling slow across polished tile. Keys splayed in a silver constellation. Her wallet open, cards scattered like a dealer's bad hand. Everything private made public. Everything personal now performance. The man leaned close. She felt his breath against her ear, hot and sour. You done making a scene? He whispered, intimate as a threat. Maya said nothing. Her jaw ached too much to speak, and even if it didn't, what could she say that this crowd would hear over their own phones? She was alone. Surrounded, but alone. Something clattered. Metal on marble. Sharp. Distinct. A small object slid across the floor. Not a coin, too rectangular. Gold edge catching lobby light as it spun. Dark leather. Official looking. It skittered toward a column, hit the base, stopped. An elderly woman near the teller line bent down, picked it up. Her fingers opened the leather fold. Her face changed. Oh my God, she breathed. The radio on the man's belt crackled to life. Static, then a female dispatcher, distant and tinny. Unit 12, do you have visual confirmation of badge? Silence. The knee pressed harder into Maya's spine. And somewhere in that crowd of cameras, one lens zoomed in tight on the thing the woman was holding. Before I tell you what happened next, you need to understand something. That man with his knee on her back, he just made the worst mistake of his career. And if you want to see how fast his world falls apart, hit that subscribe button right now, because this story is about to flip in a way that'll leave you speechless. Like every other routine, Maya's alarm went off at 5:45 a.m. Not because she needed it, her body had learned the rhythm years ago, but because routines mattered. She silenced the phone without looking, sat up, navy suit already pressed and hanging on the closet door, white blouse, no wrinkles, black shoes polished the night before. The apartment was small, modest, one bedroom where the heat worked most of the time. On the nightstand sat a photo in a simple frame. Her and Marcus, both smiling, his arm around her waist. 7 years old. He'd been gone for 4. She didn't cry anymore when she looked at it. Just touched the frame, quick, reflexive, and stood. Coffee by 6:15. Black, no sugar. She drank it standing at the kitchen counter, eyes on her tablet. Numbers, transactions, patterns that most people would miss. She circled something in red pen, made a note in the margin. Neat handwriting, precise. Her wedding band caught the morning light. Scratched gold, worn thin on one side. Next to it, another ring, heavier, simpler. She never took either off. By 6:50, she was on the subway. Morning rush starting. A man in a wrinkled suit bumped her shoulder, didn't apologize. She adjusted her bag and kept reading. Highlighted a line. Made another note. The train lurched. She didn't look up. At 7:30, she stopped by St. Augustine's on Lenox. The food bank in the basement was already open. Reverend Gaines sorting donations with 2 volunteers. Miss Maya, he called out, warm as Sunday morning. Always early, she smiled. Handed him an envelope. He peeked inside, raised an eyebrow. This is too much, he said. It's what I can give, Maya replied. The Reverend studied her for a moment. We appreciate you, he said softly. More than you know. She nodded, left before he could say more. Downtown by 8. Glass building, unmarked entrance. She swiped her card at the lobby desk. The guard nodded without speaking. Elevator to the 9th floor. Cubicles and fluorescent lights. Phones ringing. The hum of a Tuesday morning. Her desk was immaculate. Files stacked by priority. A coffee mug. Accountants do it with precision that made her smirk every time she saw it. She logged into her computer, pulled up the case she'd been working for months. Complex, layered, the kind that required sitting with spreadsheets until patterns revealed themselves. A colleague leaned over the partition. "Morning, Thornton," he said. "You ready for Steinway?" "Almost," Maya said. "Just need to confirm a few details." "Be careful over there," he added. "Heard that branch has issues." She glanced up. "What kind of issues?" He shrugged. "Just be aware. You know how it is." She did. Maya returned to her screen, zoomed in on a transaction from 2 weeks prior. $50,000, routed through 3 accounts, landing somewhere it shouldn't. She pulled up a calendar, cross-referenced dates, made a list of documents she'd need. On her desk, half hidden under a folder, sat a small leather case. She pulled it out, ran her thumb over the edge. Gold trim catching the overhead lights. Inside, a photo. Her name engraved beneath it. She stared at it for a moment, then closed it, slipped it into her bag, and got back to work. Tomorrow, that badge would be the only thing standing between her and the truth everyone would finally see. 3 days later, Maya stood outside Metro Fidelity Bank on Steinway Avenue, coffee in one hand, phone in the other. The building was all glass and steel. Modern, clean. The kind of place that wanted you to feel like your money was safe just by looking at it. Morning sunlight caught the windows, turned them into mirrors reflecting the street back at itself. She finished her coffee, tossed the cup in a recycling bin, checked her watch, engraved on the back, words she didn't need to read anymore. Serve with honor. 9:17 a.m., right on schedule. The lobby doors slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, marble floors polished to a mirror shine. High ceilings that made voices echo. Muzak playing something instrumental and forgettable. Strings, maybe piano, designed to be ignored. A dozen customers scattered across the space. Woman with a stroller near the new accounts desk. Elderly man studying a deposit slip, squinting at the fine print. 2 college kids arguing quietly near the ATM about splitting a check. Behind plexiglass partitions, 4 tellers working their stations. Young, professional, rehearsed smiles that appeared and disappeared on cue. And near the entrance, a security desk. The man behind it was broad-shouldered, mid-40s, buzz cut going gray at the temples, arms crossed over his chest, eyes scanning the room in a pattern, left to right, pause on faces, sweep back, like he was waiting for something to go wrong. A name tag on his uniform shirt, V. Brenner, head of security. Maya filed that away, made a mental note, joined the line at window 3, 5 people ahead of her. She pulled out her phone, scrolled through emails while she waited. One from her colleague. "Let me know when you're done. Lunch at that Thai place?" She typed back, "Depends on how cooperative they are. We'll update." The line moved slowly. Banking always moved slowly on Tuesday mornings. A woman 2 spots ahead complained about a fee, voice rising, indignant. The teller apologized, explained the policy in that careful customer service tone, apologized again. The woman left unhappy, muttering under her breath about switching banks. The elderly man took his time counting out bills for his deposit. His hands shook slightly. The teller was patient with him, counted along, smiled. "You have a good day now, Mr. Chen," she said warmly. He smiled back, shuffled away slowly. Maya stepped forward when her turn came. The teller was young, maybe 25. Name tag read Stephanie. Blonde ponytail pulled tight. Smile that actually reached her eyes. Genuine, not the corporate kind. "Good morning," she said brightly. "How can I help you today?" Maya placed her ID on the counter. Driver's license. Current, clean photo. "I need to request some documentation," she said. Her voice was even, professional. "Quarterly reconciliation reports for account transactions over $10,000, past 18 months. Stephanie's smile faltered. Just a fraction. Her eyes flicked from the ID to Maya's face, then back. "Oh," she said. That's not a standard request we usually process at the teller window." "I understand," Maya said calmly, "but it's within account holder rights under disclosure provisions. I'm happy to wait while you get the appropriate authorization." Stephanie picked up the ID, studied it longer than seemed necessary, her brow furrowed slightly. "Let me just get my manager," she said. "Just one moment, okay?" "Of course," Maya replied. Take your time. Stephanie disappeared through a door behind the teller line, ID still in her hand. Maya stepped aside to let the next customer move up, a businessman in an expensive suit already pulling out his phone. She stood near a marble pillar, checked her own phone again. Nothing urgent. The clock on the wall read 9:24. Around her, the lobby continued its rhythm. The woman with the stroller finally got her paperwork sorted, left pushing it one-handed while texting. One of the college kids withdrew cash from the ATM, stuffed it in his wallet, said something to his friend that made them both laugh. Across the lobby, Brenner shifted his weight. He was watching her now. Not obviously, he'd glance at the door, at the teller line, at other customers, but his attention kept returning to Maya. She noticed it in her peripheral vision. Didn't acknowledge it. Just stood there, waiting. 2 minutes passed, then 4. Through the glass partition behind the teller line, Maya could see Stephanie talking to someone. A woman in a pantsuit, 30s, dark hair pulled back. Stephanie was gesturing toward the lobby, toward where Maya stood. The woman, assistant manager probably, glanced through the glass. Her eyes found Maya, lingered. Something in her expression shifted. Recognition maybe? Or suspicion. Then she turned to a computer, sat down, started typing. Not a quick note, a long message. Her fingers moved fast across the keyboard. 20 seconds, 30, 40. Whatever she was writing, it wasn't brief. Maya could see her face from this angle. Focused, deliberate, like she was composing something that needed precision. She hit send, straightened, said something else to Stephanie, then moved out of view. 5 minutes, 6. Maya glanced at her watch again. Still early. She had time, but the delay was interesting. Not alarming yet. Just interesting. She made another mental note, filed it alongside the others. The businessman finished his transaction, left quickly, already on a phone call. The college kids lingered by the brochure stand, looking at mortgage rate flyers they clearly had no interest in. Behind the security desk, Brenner picked up his radio, spoke into it quietly. Maya couldn't hear what he said from this distance. He listened to the response, static and garbled, then clipped the radio back to his belt. His eyes found Maya again. This time he didn't look away when she noticed, just stared. Flat expression, assessing. She held his gaze for 2 seconds, then went back to her phone. 7 minutes, 8. The Muzak switched songs, still instrumental, still designed to be invisible. A piano melody now, something vaguely familiar. At 9:35, the woman in the pantsuit emerged from the back office. Gray suit, low heels, minimal jewelry. Name tag, C. Revere, assistant manager. Her smile was professional in the way that corporate training videos teach, polite, neutral, revealing nothing. She spoke briefly to Stephanie at the window, too quiet for Maya to hear, then turned toward the lobby. "Ma'am," she called out, "would you mind coming back to the counter?" Maya walked over. Claudia Revere's smile didn't waver. "Good morning," she said. "I understand you're requesting quarterly reconciliation reports?" "That's correct," Maya confirmed. "May I ask what this documentation is for?" Claudia asked. Her tone was pleasant, curious. The question felt rehearsed. "Account verification," Maya said. Simple, direct. Claudia's eyes flicked down to the ID on the counter between them. She picked it up, examined it. Front side, then flipping it over to check the back. "I see," she said slowly. "And these reports, you're aware they're not typically provided for routine account inquiries? They require additional authorization." "I'm aware of bank policy," Maya said. Her tone remained patient, even. "I'm also aware that I'm entitled to request them as an account holder. I'm happy to complete whatever forms are necessary." Claudia set the ID down but didn't push it back across the counter yet. Her fingers rested on it. "It's just that we need to verify the nature of the request," she said. "For compliance purposes, security protocols. I'm sure you understand." "I understand procedure," Maya said. "I can wait while you process the authorization." Something flickered across Claudia's face. Annoyance maybe, or calculation. It passed quickly. "Let me speak with our regional manager," she said. She picked up the ID again. "He'll need to review this, just a few more minutes." She disappeared back through the door. Maya returned to her spot by the pillar, pulled out her phone, typed a message. "Still waiting. Bank seems cautious about documentation requests. Nothing unusual yet, just slow." She sent it to Roland. The response came quickly. "Want me to swing by?" Maya considered it. Typed back, "Not yet. We'll let you know if needed." She looked up. Brenner was standing now, no longer behind his desk. He'd moved closer, positioned himself near the entrance to the back offices. Arms still crossed, still watching. His posture read as casual, just a security guard monitoring the floor, but there was an intensity to it. A focus. 9:43 a.m. 15 minutes now since Stephanie had taken her ID, longer than reasonable for a simple authorization. At the teller window, Stephanie was helping another customer. She glanced toward the back office door once, twice, looked nervous. When she caught Maya looking at her, she quickly looked away. Behind the security desk, Brenner's radio crackled. He lifted it, listened. Static, then a voice too distorted to make out clearly. But Maya caught fragments. "Customer at window 3, documentation request." Brenner responded with 2 words. "Copy that." The music played on. Someone's phone rang at the new accounts desk. No one answered it right away. At 9:51, the back office door opened again. A man emerged. Tall, 50-something, graying at the temples. Expensive suit. Tailored, not off the rack. Confident stride. The kind of walk that came from years of being the person people deferred to. Name tag. G. Lynch, Regional Manager. He held Maya's ID in his hand. And he didn't walk toward Maya. Not yet. Instead, he walked to the security desk, stopped next to Brenner, leaned in close, said something too quiet for Maya to hear from this distance. But she saw Brenner's expression change, saw him straighten, shoulders going back, saw Lynch gesture in her direction. Then Lynch pulled out his own radio. Pressed the button. His voice carried just slightly across the lobby. "Got a situation at window 3, he said into the device. "Customer asking for documentation outside normal protocol." A crackle of static, a response Maya couldn't make out. Lynch clipped the radio back to his belt, said something else to Brenner, nodded once. Definitive. Then both men started walking toward Maya. Lynch's stride was measured, professional. Brenner's was heavier, more deliberate. His boots loud on marble. The college kids by the ATM stopped talking, watched. Lynch reached Maya first, extended his hand, smile already in place, practiced, the kind politicians use. "Ma'am," he said, voice smooth. "I'm Garrett Lynch, Regional Manager. Sorry for the wait. Let's see if we can sort this out." Maya shook his hand. His grip was firm, performative, held a half-second too long. "I understand you're requesting some unusual documentation," Lynch said. It was phrased as a question but felt like an accusation. "Quarterly reconciliation reports," Maya said. "Standard disclosure request." Right, Lynch said. He held up her ID, studied it like he was seeing it for the first time even though he'd been holding it for minutes, turned it over, held it at an angle to catch the light. "Just need to make absolutely sure everything checks out. We've had some issues with identity fraud recently. I'm sure you understand. Can never be too careful." His smile never wavered, but his eyes were cold. Calculating. Brenner arrived, stopped 3 feet away, didn't say anything. Just stood there, arms crossed, a wall of muscle and authority. Silent but present. A message without words. Lynch glanced at him. Some wordless communication passed between them, a look that lasted less than a second but said everything. Then Lynch looked back at Maya. "Why don't we step into my office?" he said, still smiling. "Have a more private conversation about your request. I think that would be more appropriate, don't you?" It wasn't a suggestion. Maya's phone buzzed in her hand. A text from Roland. "Everything okay?" She didn't answer it. She looked at Lynch, then at Brenner, then back at Lynch. Her watch read 9:54 a.m. The lobby had gone quieter. The music still played, but it felt distant now. Other customers had noticed. The college kids were watching openly. A woman at the new accounts desk had paused mid-conversation with a banker, attention drawn to the scene developing near the pillar. "I'm waiting for the documentation I requested," Maya said. Her voice was calm, level. Too calm for someone being cornered by 2 men in positions of authority. "I'm happy to wait here in the lobby." Lynch's smile tightened at the corners. Just barely. He exchanged another glance with Brenner, and Brenner took a step closer. His shadow fell across Maya, and she knew. Whatever happened next, it wasn't going to be about paperwork anymore. Brenner's boots hit marble, heavy, deliberate, each step echoing through the lobby like a countdown. He crossed the floor with purpose, not the casual patrol of a security guard monitoring his territory. This was different. This was intent. His shoulders were squared, jaw set, eyes locked on Maya like a predator who'd spotted prey. He stopped 5 feet away, arms still crossed. "Ma'am," he said, voice flat and hard, "I need you to step outside." Maya looked up from her phone. The overhead lights caught the edge of her face, cast shadows under her eyes. She met his stare. "I'm waiting for documentation I requested," she said calmly. "Is there a problem?" "You're making staff uncomfortable," Brenner said. "Asking questions you got no business asking." Maya glanced past him toward the teller line. Stephanie was helping another customer but kept glancing over, her hands fumbling with deposit slips. Claudia stood near the back office door, arms crossed, weight shifted to one hip, watching. No one looked uncomfortable except the people staring at Maya. "I asked for banking documents I'm entitled to," Maya said. "How is that making anyone uncomfortable?" Brenner's nostrils flared. "The way you're asking. The attitude." "I haven't displayed any attitude," Maya said. Her tone was still even, professional, but her fingers had tightened slightly around her phone. "I've been patient, polite, I've waited nearly 40 minutes. Other customers were watching now. The college kids had moved closer, pretending to read credit card applications they weren't reading. The woman in business attire had paused mid-stride toward the exit, her briefcase hanging from one hand. An older man at the ATM stood frozen, receipt still printing, head turned toward the scene. No phones out yet, but every eye was tracking the interaction. Brenner took a step closer. 4 feet away now, the fluorescent lights above cast harsh shadows across his face, deepened the lines around his mouth. "Where you from?" he asked. The question came out of nowhere, landed like a punch. Maya blinked. Once. Slow. "Excuse me?" "Where you from?" Brenner repeated. Each word a stone dropped into still water. "I live in the city," Maya said. "That's not what I asked." His voice had gone quieter, sharper. The air in the lobby changed, got heavier, thicker, like the pressure drop before a storm. Several customers shifted weight from one foot to the other. The college kid's hand moved toward his pocket, phone, but slowly, uncertain. Maya's expression didn't change, but her posture did. Subtly, her spine lengthened, shoulders squared. The light caught her wedding band as her hand moved to her side. "I was born in Brooklyn," she said. A pause. "Raised in Queens." Her voice flattened. "Lived in Manhattan for 6 years." "Is that sufficient?" Something tightened in her throat. She felt it, the heat, the pressure, but swallowed it down. Marcus's ring on her finger, the heavier one next to her wedding band, pressed against her skin, grounding her, reminding her who she was, what she'd trained for. Brenner's jaw worked, muscle twitching beneath skin. "See, that's the attitude." Before Maya could respond, Lynch appeared. His expensive shoes clicked rapid fire across marble. Smile already in place, smaller now, strained, not reaching his eyes. Okay, he said, hands up, palms out. "Let's all just take a breath here. Miss, I think maybe there's been a misunderstanding." "There's no misunderstanding," Maya said. Her voice was quiet but carried across the lobby like a bell. "Your security officer asked me where I'm from, as if that's relevant to banking documents." Lynch's smile flickered like a bulb about to die. "We're just being thorough." "You're being discriminatory," Maya said, quieter now, colder. The word hung in the air. Lynch's face went from professional tan to pale to flushed in 3 seconds. His hand came up, almost touched his tie, stopped halfway, dropped. "That's a very serious accusation." "It's a very serious situation." Silence. 5 seconds. 10. Just the hum of fluorescent lights and the distant whir of the HVAC system. Behind the teller line, through the plexiglass partition, Claudia had moved back to her computer. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, fast, urgent, not the casual typing of routine work. This was something else. A message. A warning. Maya caught it in her peripheral vision, filed it away. The college kid's phone was out now, red dot glowing. The woman in business attire followed suit, her screen brightness catching the light, drawing Brenner's attention like a spotlight. His neck flushed red, crept up toward his jawline. "Put those away," he said. Not loud, controlled, but his hands had balled into fists at his sides. "This is a private conversation." "It's a public lobby," the college kid said. His voice shook, but he didn't lower the phone. "I can record?" "Not if you're interfering." Brenner's voice had dropped another register, the kind of quiet that wasn't calm, It was pressure building behind a dam. Lynch stepped forward, trying to insert himself between Brenner and Maya. His shadow fell across her face. "Ma'am, we've explained that we need additional time. If you just come back tomorrow—" "Why?" Maya asked. "Just that. One word." Lynch's mouth opened, closed. His eyes flicked sideways to Brenner. Quick, almost invisible, but Maya caught it. "We need to confirm the nature of your inquiry," he said carefully. "Account verification." Maya's voice was even, flat, the tone of someone who'd repeated themselves too many times. "That's very vague. It's accurate. A beat. I'm not required to explain beyond that." Lynch's smile had disappeared entirely. The muscles around his mouth had gone tight. "The delay is that we have concerns about the legitimacy of your request." "Based on what?" "Our professional judgment." The overhead lights buzzed. One of them flickered, once, twice, then steadied. In that stuttering light, shadows moved across faces, made Brenner look older, harder, made Lynch's expression shift between conciliatory and contemptuous. "Open your bag," Brenner said suddenly. The lobby went very quiet. Even the HVAC seemed to pause. Maya looked at him, really looked at him. Her eyes moved from his face to his hands, still clenched, to his belt where his radio sat, to the pepper spray canister clipped next to it, then back to his face. "That's not a reasonable request," she said. The phrasing, too precise, too legal. The words of someone trained. Brenner noticed. His eyes narrowed to slits. "I'm the head of security. I have the right to ensure safety. You could have anything in that bag. I have personal items, none of which are your concern without probable cause." "Probable cause," Brenner repeated. He took another step. 3 feet now, close enough that Maya could smell coffee on his breath, see the red veins in the whites of his eyes, close enough that his physical presence became a wall. "You sound like a lawyer." Near the security desk, movement. A younger guard, T. Howell on his name tag, had appeared. 20s, pale, nervous. He had a small notebook out, pen moving across the page, writing, documenting. His hand shook slightly, but he kept writing. Brenner loomed. Maya's head tilted back to maintain eye contact. The height difference was deliberate, calculated. "You got something to hide?" he asked. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard it. The lobby had become an amphitheater, sound carrying across marble and glass. "I've got privacy, which I'm entitled to." Brenner's breathing had changed. Faster, shallow. His chest rose and fell visibly beneath his uniform shirt, hands opening, closing, closing. A metronome of barely controlled rage. Maya saw it, cataloged it. "You're violating my rights," she said. Steady as stone. "I suggest you contact your supervisor." "He is the supervisor," Lynch said quickly, too quickly. His voice had gone up half an octave. Whispers started, low, rippling through the watching crowd like wind through grass. "She didn't do anything," someone said. Barely audible, but it carried. "Why they hassling her? This is messed up." The crowd was shifting, bodies angling differently, faces changing from curious to concerned to critical. The light from their phone screens cast blue-white glows on their faces, modern torches, modern witnesses. Brenner heard it, saw the phones, felt the narrative slipping away from him. His jaw clenched so hard the muscle jumped. His eyes had gone hard and flat, the look of a man who'd made a decision and was going to see it through no matter the cost. He pulled air into his lungs, held it, let it out slow. "You people always think rules don't apply," he said. Loud, clear, every syllable sharp-edged and deliberate. "You walk in here like you own the place, like we owe you something, making demands, causing problems, then crying discrimination when someone finally calls you out." The silence that followed was absolute. No whispers, no phones ringing, no footsteps, no HVAC hum, no muzak. The fluorescent lights buzzed louder in the void, just those words, hanging in the air like smoke after a gunshot. "You people!" The woman in business attire lowered her phone slowly. Her mouth had fallen open. "Did he just—" she breathed. The college kid's hand was shaking now, visibly, but he kept recording, zooming in slightly, capturing Brenner's face, the rage still written there. "Yeah," he whispered to his friend. "I got it. All of it." The elderly man at the ATM brought his hand to his chest, unconscious gesture, protective. "Lord have mercy," he murmured, so quiet it was almost lost. But not quite. Trent, the young guard, had stopped writing. His pen rested against paper, frozen mid-word. His face had lost all color. He looked from Brenner to Maya and back again, something like horror dawning in his eyes. Behind the teller line, Stephanie had tears streaming down her face. Silent. She wasn't even pretending to work anymore. Just stood there, one hand over her mouth, watching. Lynch had gone white, then gray. His hand came up to his mouth, fingers pressing against lips like he could somehow reach into the air and pull the words back. "Vic," he whispered, barely audible. "What did you—" But Brenner wasn't listening. He was breathing hard, nostrils flaring, fists clenched white-knuckled at his sides, neck red as raw meat, staring at Maya like she'd personally wronged him by existing in his space. And Maya just stood there. The light from the window behind her cast her in partial silhouette, made her seem smaller than she was, but she didn't move, didn't flinch, didn't look away. Her face was calm, composed, professional, but her eyes, something in her eyes had gone very, very cold. Something hot had flashed behind her ribs when he said it. Not anger, not yet. Something sharper, more focused. The feeling she got when a case broke open. When all the pieces suddenly aligned and she saw the full picture, she felt the weight of both rings on her finger. Marcus's voice in her memory, "Stay sharp, stay cold. Emotion makes you sloppy." She stayed cold. The silence stretched. 5 seconds. 10, 15, no one moved, no one spoke, and in that silence, everyone in that lobby understood exactly what they'd just witnessed. A line had been crossed, publicly, irrevocably, and there was no taking it back. The silence broke. Brenner moved. Fast. Faster than someone his size should move. His hand shot out, fingers closing around Maya's upper arm like a vice. "You're leaving," he said. Not a request. A statement. Now. Maya felt the pressure, the grip tight enough to bruise. She looked down at his hand, then up at his face. "Remove your hand," she said. Her voice was steady, no tremor, no fear, just fact. "I said you're leaving." Brenner's fingers tightened. "And I said remove your hand." Maya's tone hadn't changed. Still calm, still professional. But something in her eyes had sharpened. "You're assaulting me." "I'm escorting you out," Brenner said. "Without cause, without authority. That's assault." Brenner's response was to twist. Her arm rotated, wrist bending at an angle that sent pain shooting up to her shoulder. Sharp, hot. Maya's breath caught, but she didn't cry out. Wouldn't. Her free hand instinctively moved toward his grip, not to strike, to stabilize, but Brenner read it as resistance. "Don't," he growled. He spun her, used her momentum and his leverage to turn her body toward the exit. Her shoulder wrenched, her feet stumbled trying to keep up. The lobby exploded into motion. Phones shot up, dozens of them. Red recording dots multiplying like warning lights. The college kids filming from 2 angles. The businesswoman moved closer. Even Stephanie behind the plexiglass had pulled out her phone, hands shaking. "Hey!" someone shouted. "What are you doing?" "That's excessive force," the businesswoman called out. Maya didn't resist. That was the thing. She wasn't pulling away, wasn't fighting back. She was just trying to keep her balance, trying to protect her shoulder, trying to maintain dignity while being manhandled across a public lobby. But Brenner narrated a different story. "We have a disturbance," he announced loudly. "Everyone stay back. Subject is non-compliant and aggressive." "She's not doing anything," the college kid yelled. "She's just standing there." "Sir, she's resisting," Lynch added quickly, positioning himself between cameras and Brenner's grip. But there were too many angles, too many witnesses. Maya wasn't resisting. She was calculating. Her eyes moved, quick, trained. 3 exits, front blocked, side blocked, back too far. 17 witnesses, 9 phones recording, overhead cameras every 20 feet. Trent at the security desk, frozen, hand hovering near his radio but not pressing. Brenner pulled, started dragging her toward the door. Maya's shoes scraped against marble. The sound was awful, high-pitched, nails on a chalkboard. Her weight shifted wrong and she had to choose. Let him dislocate her shoulder or drop to her knees. She chose her knees. Lesser injury, but it looked like surrender. The crowd gasped, sharp, shocked. "Stop!" The elderly man moved forward. "You're hurting her." "Stay back," Brenner barked. "This doesn't concern you." "The hell it doesn't," the businesswoman said. "Phone up. We're all witnesses. You're assaulting her." Brenner ignored her, kept pulling. Maya's knees hit marble, crack, pain sharp, but he didn't slow. He dragged, actually dragged her. Her shoes lost contact with the floor, her weight hanging from his grip, knees scraping across polished stone. Her purse. The strap had been across her body, diagonal, professional, and secure, but the force of Brenner's pulling, something had to give. The strap snapped, not slowly, not with warning, just snap, the leather giving way. Everything spilled. Keys hit first, heavy, metal, scattered in a silver spray. Then her wallet, leather, worn, photos visible. It landed open, ID cards fanning out. Lipstick rolled, tracking a curved path toward the ATM. Her phone skittered, screen down, scraping. Tissues, pen, receipts, and something else. Small, rectangular, dark leather with gold trim. It slid, spun slightly. The overhead lights caught the gold, made it flash. Once, twice. It came to rest near a marble column, right where the elderly woman was standing. But Brenner didn't see. He was focused entirely on Maya, on getting her to the door, on winning. Maya hit the floor harder. Her palms came down, instinct, protection, but the force jarred through her wrists. Her chin nearly hit marble. She tasted blood. Her lip had split. Copper spread across her tongue. Pain, sharp and immediate, but familiar. She'd felt worse, training at Quantico, the obstacle course that broke 3 ribs, the defensive tactics instructor who didn't pull punches. Marcus's voice in her memory. Pain is information. Process it, move past it. She processed, moved past it. "Stay down," Brenner said. Quieter now, more dangerous. He released her arm, finally, but only to reposition. His knee came down, between her shoulder blades, right at the base of her spine, heavy, deliberate, the full weight of him pressing her into the floor. Maya's breath expelled in a rush, her ribs compressed. Breathing became work. She turned her head to the side, the only movement she could manage, cheek pressed against cold marble. She could see the lobby from this angle. Upside down, distorted, feet everywhere, phones pointing down at her. The college kid had dropped to one knee to get a better angle, face pale, still recording. Trent was still frozen. His hand touched his radio now, but he wasn't pressing the button, wasn't calling for help, just standing there, conflict written across his face. Behind the teller line, Claudia had her phone out, but she held it low, angled, trying to record without being obvious, her face carefully blank, but her hands shook. "You done making a scene?" Brenner asked, his voice pitched for the crowd. "Performing." Maya's response came out breathless from the pressure on her lungs, but steady. "You're making a mistake." Blood from her split lips smeared against marble, a red streak against white stone. "The mistake," Brenner said, leaning more weight onto his knee, "was you walking in here thinking you're special, above the rules." The crowd was getting louder, angrier. "This is wrong. Someone call the real police. This is assault." And then, cutting through the noise, a voice, clear, strong. "Let her go." One person, then another. "Let her go! Let her go!" It started to build, a chant, rhythmic, growing. "Let her go! Let her go!" Lynch's face had gone from gray to green. He looked around at the crowd, at the phones, at the faces, at the growing anger, and panic flickered. "Everyone needs to clear the lobby," he shouted, his voice cracked. "This is a security situation. You need to leave now." No one moved. If anything, they moved closer, the circle tightening. Not threatening, not aggressive, just there, witnessing, recording, refusing to look away. "Clear the lobby!" Lynch's voice went up an octave. Full panic. He pulled out his own phone, started dialing. Brenner's radio crackled. Dispatch asking for status. He ignored it, too focused on Maya, on keeping her down, on asserting dominance. Maya's vision was starting to blur at the edges, the pressure on her back restricting blood flow, oxygen. She needed to move, but any movement would be read as resistance, would justify more force, so she stayed still. Practiced breathing techniques from years ago, shallow, efficient, conserving oxygen, staying conscious. And she watched the elderly woman take a small step forward, watched her look down at something near her feet, watched her bend, slow, arthritis making it difficult, and pick something up. The small leather folio, gold edges catching light. The woman held it, turned it over. Her fingers found the opening, began to lift the flap. Maya's heart rate picked up. This was it. The moment everything would change. But Brenner still didn't see. His attention was on the crowd, on Lynch fumbling with his phone, on maintaining control. The elderly woman's eyes went wide, her mouth fell open, her hands started to shake, and Maya, face pressed against marble, blood on her lip, a man's knee in her spine, surrounded by witnesses and recording phones and a chanting crowd, waited. Oh my God. The elderly woman's voice cut through the chanting. Not loud, barely above a whisper, but something in her tone, shock, recognition, disbelief, made people stop mid-chant. The sound died, faded to nothing. The lobby went quiet again. Everyone turned to look at her. She was staring at the thing in her hands, the small leather folio. Her fingers trembled as she held it, eyes locked on whatever was inside. Her mouth had fallen open. Her face had gone pale. "Ma'am, what?" Lynch started. "Oh my God," she repeated, louder this time, her voice shaking. Brenner's knee was still planted between Maya's shoulder blades. He looked up, irritated at the interruption. "Ma'am, step back," he said sharply. "This is a security matter. You need to—" "She's FBI," the woman said. The words hung in the air. For a moment, no one reacted. Like the statement was in a foreign language that needed translation. Like their brains couldn't process what their ears had just heard. Brenner blinked. "What?" The elderly woman lifted the folio higher. Her hands were shaking so badly the gold trim caught the overhead lights in stuttering flashes. "This," she said, voice gaining strength, "is a badge. Federal Bureau of Investigation." She looked directly at Brenner. "She's a federal agent. You just assaulted a federal agent." The lobby erupted, not with chanting this time, with chaos. Voices exploding all at once. Sharp gasps, shouts of disbelief, curses, questions overlapping questions. Bodies surging forward, trying to see, phones lifting higher, zooming in, trying to capture the badge in the woman's trembling hands. "Let me see that." Lynch lunged forward, hand outstretched. "Don't touch it!" The businesswoman moved fast, positioning herself between Lynch and the elderly woman, protective, blocking. "That's federal property, evidence." "Evidence of what?" Lynch's voice had gone shrill, panicked. "Of you people assaulting an FBI agent," the college kid said. He was filming the badge now, zooming tight on the gold shield. "We all watched you do it. It's all recorded." "She didn't identify herself," Brenner's voice cracked. "She never said—" "She didn't have to," someone shouted from the back. "She was a customer." "You called her you people. We heard you. You put your hands on her." The crowd was angry now, genuinely angry. The kind of anger that had been simmering under the surface and suddenly found ignition. Voices rising, bodies moving closer. The circle tightening around Brenner and Maya and Lynch. Brenner's knee was still on Maya's back, but his weight had shifted, lightened, like his body was already trying to retreat even though his brain hadn't caught up yet. His face had gone from red to white in seconds. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound came out. Lynch had his phone out, fingers fumbling, trying to dial. I need to speak to—" His hands were shaking so badly he dropped it. The phone clattered on marble. He scrambled to pick it up. "Everyone stay calm," he shouted. But his voice had no authority left, just desperation. "This is a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" The businesswoman's voice was ice. "We all saw what happened. She asked for banking documents. You questioned where she was from. Your security used a racial slur. Then he dragged her across the floor and put his knee on her back. Which part is the misunderstanding?" "She was trespassing." "She was banking!" Multiple voices shouted at once. The elderly woman was still holding the badge, still staring at it. Then she looked down at Maya, face pressed against marble, blood smeared from her split lip, suit jacket torn, hair disheveled, and something in the woman's expression crumbled. Grief, rage, horror at what she'd witnessed. "You heard her," she said quietly, but in the momentary lull everyone heard it. "She's bleeding, she's injured. And you heard her because she asked questions, because she wouldn't leave when you told her to leave for no good reason." Stephanie was sobbing now behind the plexiglass, openly, her shoulders shaking. One of the other tellers had an arm around her but was crying too. Trent, the young security guard, had finally moved. But not to help Brenner. He was walking away from the security desk, toward the crowd. His face was pale, sick. His notebook was still in his hand. He held it up. "I documented everything," he said. His voice was quiet but steady. Times, actions, everything he did, everything she said. "I have it all written down." Brenner's head snapped toward him. "Trent, I'm sorry," Trent said. Not to Brenner, to Maya. "I should have stopped him. I should have done something. I'm sorry." The crowd parted slightly to let him through. He knelt down near Maya, careful, not touching, just close enough to be heard. "I saw everything," he said. "I'll testify. I'll tell them exactly what happened." Behind the teller line, Claudia had stopped trying to hide her phone. She was recording openly now. When Lynch looked at her, betrayed, shocked, she shook her head. "I'm not losing my career over this," she said. Her voice was steady, cold. "I'm not going down for what you did. I have video, audio, everything." Lynch's face went from white to gray, like he was watching his entire life collapse in real time. The college kid's phone buzzed. He looked at it. His eyes went wide. "It's already online," he said. "Someone posted video. It's spreading. Oh man, it's spreading fast." "How fast?" his friend asked. "Thousands of views already. People are sharing it everywhere." The businesswoman pulled out her own phone, scrolled quickly. "He's right." Banking. While black is starting to trend, multiple videos from different angles, people are tagging news stations. Brenner's knee finally lifted off Maya's back, completely. He stood up, took a step back, then another. His hands came up, not surrender exactly, but defensive. Lost, like he couldn't understand how everything had gone so wrong so fast. "I didn't know," he said. "To no one. To everyone." "She didn't say, I didn't. You didn't need to know," the elderly woman said. She was still holding the badge, still standing there like a pillar. "You should never have treated her that way regardless of who she is. That's the point. That's what you don't understand." Maya hadn't moved yet. Still on the floor, still bleeding, still breathing carefully through ribs that screamed with every inhale, but her eyes were open, watching, cataloging, every face, every phone, every witness, every piece of evidence. The elderly woman knelt down carefully, arthritis making the movement slow. She placed the badge on the floor next to Maya's hand, within reach but not presumptuous, not touching. "I'm so sorry, dear," she whispered. "I'm so sorry this happened to you." Maya's fingers moved, slow, deliberate. They touched the edge of the badge case, curled around it, pulled it closer, but she didn't try to stand yet, didn't speak yet, just held onto that small piece of leather and gold like it was an anchor, like it was proof, like it was the thing that would make all of this mean something. Outside, through the glass windows, a siren wailed in the distance, getting closer. The crowd heard it, heads turning toward the sound, bodies shifting. Lynch heard it. His face went from gray to green. He looked at Brenner, at the crowd, at Claudia still recording, at Trent with his notebook, at the phones capturing everything. And he understood, finally, completely, that there was no walking this back, no making it go away, no damage control sophisticated enough to undo what had been done in this lobby. The siren got louder, closer, and Maya Thornton, face pressed against cold marble, blood on her lips, badge clutched in her hand, surrounded by witnesses who refused to look away, waited for what came next. Maya moved, slowly, every muscle protesting, her hands pressed flat against marble, arms straightening, bearing weight. Her shoulders screamed where Brenner had wrenched them. Her ribs ached with every breath. But she pushed through it. She got to her knees first, paused, let the dizziness pass. Blood dripped from her split lip onto white stone. The lobby was silent, everyone watching. She looked at the badge in her hand, the leather worn from years of use, gold shield catching light. She opened it, her photo from 7 years ago, when she'd graduated the academy, when Marcus was still alive, when she'd believed the badge meant something that couldn't be taken away by men like Brenner. She'd been wrong about that last part, but the badge still meant something, just not what she'd thought. She closed it, took a breath, and stood. It hurt. Everything hurt, but she stood straight, shoulders back, chin up, professional posture despite the torn jacket, the blood, the hair falling loose around her face. She'd been trained to stand like this, to project authority even when authority had just put its knee in her spine. She looked at Brenner first. Really looked at him. He'd backed up against a pillar, hands still raised slightly, defensive. His face had gone from red to white to a sickly gray. Sweat beaded on his forehead. His eyes kept darting from her face to the badge to the phone still recording to the exits he couldn't reach. Maya didn't say anything, just held up the badge. Let him see it clearly. The Federal Eagle, her name engraved beneath it, the title that changed everything and nothing. Special Agent. Brenner's mouth opened, closed. Words tried to form but died before reaching sound. Finally, You should have. Maya clipped the badge to her belt, the motion deliberate, final, a statement without words. Then she spoke, voice quiet but carrying across the lobby like it was amplified by the marble and glass and the absolute silence of 23 people holding their breath. Special Agent Maya Thornton, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Financial Crimes Unit. No one moved, no one spoke. Just the buzz of fluorescent lights and the sound of phones still recording and the weight of those words settling over everyone like gravity suddenly doubling. Lynch tried to step forward. His expensive shoes clicked on marble. Too loud, too nervous. "Agent Thornton," he said, and his voice was shaking, apologetic, desperate. "We had no idea. If we'd known who you were..." Maya turned to face him. Her expression was calm, cold. The look of someone who'd just watched you reveal exactly who you were and was now deciding what to do about it. "You had my ID," she said. Each word a stone dropped into still water. "Government issued, current, valid. You had my information. You had 47 minutes to process a simple authorization." She paused. Let that number hang there. 47 minutes. More than enough time to verify anything that needed verifying. More than enough time to reveal that this had never been about verification at all. "You chose this," Maya said. Lynch started to protest, started to explain about protocol and procedures and following established guidelines. But Maya cut through it with 3 words that stopped him cold. "You were profiling." The accusation landed like a physical blow. Lynch's face went from pale to flushed. He tried to deny it, to reframe it, to make it about anything other than what it was. But the words wouldn't come, not with the phones recording, not with Officer Sullivan watching, not with the elderly woman still standing there holding the moral high ground Lynch had abandoned 47 minutes ago. Maya didn't need him to confirm it. She'd already lived the confirmation. She just needed him to understand that she knew, that everyone knew, that there was no walking this back. She pulled out her phone. The screen was cracked from where it had hit the floor, but it still worked. She scrolled with her thumb, careful, methodical, the motion of someone who'd done this 1,000 times, found a contact, pressed call. The phone rang twice, then a voice distorted by the speaker. "Cross?" Maya's tone shifted. "All business now, professional." The voice of an agent reporting to her partner. "Roland, I need you at Metro Fidelity Bank, Steinway Avenue. Bring a forensic evidence team, and call the DA's office, Civil Rights Division." A pause on the other end. Then Roland's voice, sharp with concern but controlled. "What happened?" She gave him the essentials. Assault during official inquiry, multiple witnesses, video evidence from multiple angles. Subject was the bank's head of security. Regional manager was complicit. She was injured but functional. Scene needed to be secured. Roland's response was immediate. 12 minutes. He was moving already, she could hear it in his voice. Medical would arrive first. Evidence team behind them. And he told her what she already knew. Don't let anyone leave. Don't let them touch anything. She ended the call, looked at Lynch, then at Brenner, then at the crowd of witnesses still surrounding them. Phones still raised, still recording, refusing to look away even though what they'd witnessed had probably made them deeply uncomfortable. That was good. Uncomfortable was honest. Uncomfortable meant they'd remember. "No one leaves," Maya said. Not loud. Didn't need to be. The authority in her voice did the work volume couldn't. "This is now a federal crime scene. FBI is en route. Anyone who attempts to leave will be obstructing a federal investigation." Officer Sullivan stepped forward. He'd been standing near the door looking increasingly uncomfortable as the situation evolved from trespassing call to something much more serious. "Agent Thornton," he said carefully, respectfully, "we responded to a trespassing call. Do you need us to secure the scene until your team arrives?" Maya nodded. "Yes, thank you, officer. No one in or out except federal personnel and emergency medical. Sullivan spoke into his radio, his words clipped and professional. Federal scene now, FBI taking lead. All units hold position. Torres moved to the door without being asked, positioning herself as a physical barrier. No one was getting past her without going through her first. Maya turned her attention back to Lynch. His face had gone through several color changes in the past 60 seconds, pale to flush to pale again, settling finally on a grayish tone that suggested his body was having trouble deciding between fight or flight when neither option was available. "I'm going to need access to your security footage," Maya said. Her tone was matter of fact. This wasn't a request, it was a statement of what was going to happen. "All cameras, from the moment I entered this building until now. I'm also going to need personnel files for Mr. Brenner and yourself, incident reports for the past 18 months, customer complaints, internal communications regarding those complaints, all of it." Lynch's lawyer instincts finally kicked in. "That requires a warrant." "Then I'll get a warrant," Maya said. Simple. Easy. Like it was already done in her mind. "But you should know that refusing to cooperate with a federal investigation into civil rights violations looks very bad for you. Very bad. So I'm giving you the opportunity to comply voluntarily, which shows good faith, which a prosecutor might consider during charging decisions." She let that sit for a moment. Let him do the math. Cooperation versus obstruction. Good faith versus bad faith. The difference between might get charged and definitely will get charged. Lynch swallowed. His throat worked visibly. "I'll need to call our legal department." "You do that," Maya said. "But the footage from today doesn't leave this building. Those hard drives stay exactly where they are until my team secures them. Touch them, erase them, transfer them, and you add evidence tampering to the list. Are we clear?" Lynch nodded. His voice had left him entirely now. Just a man realizing in real time how badly he'd miscalculated. Maya looked at Claudia standing behind the teller line, phone still in her hand. "You said you have video?" Claudia nodded. Held up her phone like it was the most important object in the room, which, legally speaking, it might be. "Everything," she said. Her voice was steady now, certain. Someone who'd made a choice and was committed to it. "From when he first approached you. Through the whole confrontation. The assault. All of it." Maya's expression softened slightly. Recognition of an ally. "I'm going to need that phone, it's evidence. You'll get it back after we extract the files, but I need you to not delete anything. Not send it to anyone. Not post it anywhere. Can you do that?" Claudia nodded immediately. "I want them to face consequences," she said, and she was looking at Lynch and Brenner when she said it, her expression somewhere between disgust and vindication. Maya turned to Trent, the young guard who'd been documenting everything in his notebook, who'd been frozen at his post while his supervisor committed a federal crime, who'd finally found his courage too late to stop it but not too late to matter. "You documented the incident?" Maya asked. Trent held up his notebook like it was evidence at trial, which it would be. "Timestamps, actions, direct quotes, everything I saw." He paused, and something shifted in his expression. Guilt, maybe, or determination. "And I can testify to previous incidents. 3 other times in the past year. Different customers, same pattern. Complaints were filed. Nothing happened." Maya's expression sharpened. This was new information. Important information. The kind of information that turned an isolated incident into a pattern into a practice into a case. She pulled out her phone again, opened the voice recorder, started documenting. She stated the date, time, location for the record. Then she turned to Lynch. Her questions were surgical, precise, the kind of questions that left no room for evasion without obvious evasion. "Were you aware of previous complaints against Brenner? What action did you take? What consequences did Brenner face?" Lynch's answers were exactly what she expected. He'd need to review files to confirm specific details. There had been concerns raised, yes, internal reviews were conducted. Additional training was provided. But when Maya pressed him on disciplinary action, suspension, loss of pay, formal reprimand in his personnel file, Lynch went silent. His eyes flicked to the phone's recording from the crowd, to Officer Sullivan taking notes, to the witnesses whose faces showed exactly what they thought of his silence. He had no answer that wouldn't incriminate him. So he gave no answer at all. Maya stopped recording. She had what she needed. The silence was its own confession. Outside through the glass windows, a black sedan pulled up. Government plates. The door opened and a man got out. Tall, black, late 40s, wearing a tactical vest with FBI in yellow letters across his chest. He had a sidearm visible on his hip and a federal ID on a lanyard around his neck. Roland Cross. He walked into that lobby like he owned it. Like he'd walked into 100 crime scenes and this was just one more, except Maya could see the fury in his eyes when he spotted her, the torn jacket, the blood on her face, the way she was standing, straight-backed and professional but favoring her left side where her ribs hurt. "Agent Thornton," he said. His voice was controlled, professional, but there was steel underneath. "Report." Maya gave it to him straight. The Hartford case inquiry, standard documentation request. 47 minutes of delays and discriminatory treatment. Brenner's physical assault, the grab, the twist, the drag, the restraint. Lynch's complicity. Multiple witnesses. Multiple video sources. Her injuries documented by the blood still on her face. Scene was secured. Waiting for his arrival. Roland took it in, processed, nodded once. Then he turned to Brenner and Lynch and the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. "Special Agent Roland Cross, FBI," he said. His voice was ice. "Both of you, hands visible. Don't move. Don't speak unless I ask you a direct question." Brenner's hands shot up, shaking. He started to say something, an excuse, an explanation, a plea, but Roland cut him off. "I said don't speak." Brenner's mouth snapped shut, but the words had already started. The defense. The justification. She didn't identify herself. How was he supposed to know? Maya's response was surgical. She didn't need to raise her voice, didn't need to show anger, just stated the law like it was written. "I'm under no obligation to announce my federal status during lawful activity," she said. Her words cut through Brenner's excuses like they were paper. "I was a customer conducting legitimate business. You chose to profile me. You chose to put your hands on me. You assaulted a federal officer. That's on you." Brenner's face went gray, his mouth closed. All his justifications died in his throat because there was no justifying what everyone had watched him do, what the phones had recorded, what would be played in court and shown on news broadcasts and become evidence of exactly who he was when he thought no one important was watching. Roland coordinated with Sullivan. Brenner and Lynch were separated. Different corners of the lobby, no communication, hands visible at all times. Persons of interest in a federal assault case. That's what they were now. That's what they'd be in every document and every report and every charging decision from here forward. He addressed the crowd next, explained what would happen. Statements would be taken. Contact information collected. Videos would need to be provided as evidence. It would take time. Could anyone not stay? The elderly woman spoke first. She was staying. She'd seen everything. She'd tell them everything. The businesswoman agreed. Same with the college kid. One by one, every witness in that lobby committed to staying, to testifying, to refusing to let this be swept away or minimized or forgotten. Roland thanked them. Simple, sincere. Then he walked over to Maya, stood close, lowered his voice so only she could hear. "How bad?" Maya gave him the inventory. Shoulder wrenched, ribs bruised, split lip, scrapes. Nothing broken. She was functional. Roland studied her face. He'd known her long enough to know what functional meant. It meant she could still do her job. It didn't mean she was fine. "When medical gets here, full eval," he said. "Not a request. Document everything." Maya nodded. She'd already planned to. Evidence was evidence. "This is going to be big," Roland added. "National news big. You ready for that?" Maya had thought about it during the 12 minutes between her call and his arrival. Thought about what it would mean. The attention, the scrutiny, the way this would follow her for the rest of her career. "I didn't ask for it," she said, "but I'm not backing down." Roland nodded. "Good. Neither am I." He turned back to coordinate. Directing officers, calling for additional support, securing evidence, taking control of a scene that had been chaos 20 minutes ago and was now procedure. 10 minutes later, he was reviewing Claudia's footage on her phone, scrolling through the timeline, looking for something. He paused, rewound, froze the frame. "Maya," he said quietly, "come look at this." Maya moved closer, favoring her injured shoulder. The frozen image on the screen showed Lynch on his phone. The timestamp read 9:47 a.m., 4 minutes after she'd first requested documentation, before Brenner had approached, before anything had escalated. "Who's he calling?" Roland asked. Maya zoomed in. Lynch's face was visible in the frame, concerned, almost fearful. His mouth was moving, explaining something to whoever was on the other end, asking for guidance maybe, or warning them, or both. "I don't know," Maya said slowly, the wheels turning. "But we're going to find out." Roland looked at her. Something passed between them without words, an understanding built from years of working cases together, of knowing when a thread was worth pulling, of recognizing when what looked like an isolated incident was actually connected to something larger. This wasn't just about Brenner's assault, wasn't just about one bad security guard and one complicit manager. This went deeper. "Corporate's going to lawyer up fast," Roland said. "Let them," Maya replied. "We have witnesses. We have video from multiple angles. We have Trent's testimony about a pattern. And now we have this." She tapped the screen where Lynch's image was frozen. A phone call made before any of this escalated, before he had any legitimate reason to contact anyone. That's consciousness of guilt. Roland nodded, saved the frame, sent it to his phone. "Then let's pull the thread, see what unravels." Maya stood there in the center of the lobby, badge on her belt where it had always belonged, blood on her face that would wash away but wouldn't be forgotten. Surrounded by witnesses who'd refused to look away when it mattered most. She'd walked into this bank as a customer. She'd been forced to the ground as a black woman. She was standing now as a federal agent, and she was about to expose something much bigger than one man's hatred. The real work was just beginning. The number traced to corporate legal, 11 minutes, then a callback 3 minutes later. Then Lynch called a crisis management firm, all before Brenner had even approached Maya. Roland had the phone records spread across the conference table at FBI headquarters. Maya stood over them, her injured shoulder still throbbing despite painkillers. The timeline was damning. Lynch hadn't been reacting, he'd been preparing. "We need to know what was said," Maya said. "Already got a warrant for the recordings," Roland replied. "Corporate's claiming attorney-client privilege, but that doesn't apply if the communication was in furtherance of a crime." The door opened. DA investigator Keisha Brandt walked in carrying a banker's box, set it down with a heavy thud. 4 complaints, same branch, past 18 months, all buried with settlements and NDAs. She pulled out the files one by one. 4 faces, 4 names: Jermaine Ellis, teacher; Dr. Patricia Okonkwo, surgeon; Marcus Chen, software engineer; Lisa Rodriguez, attorney, all professional, all treated like criminals, all paid $25,000 to go away quiet. "Just under the threshold that triggers public disclosure," Keisha said. "They knew exactly what they were doing, and look at this." She pulled out another document. Bank's internal audit from 6 months ago. Flagged customer service concerns at Steinway branch. Recommended additional training. Guess what happened? "Nothing," Maya said. "Worse than nothing." The recommendation was forwarded to Lynch. He marked it, addressed, and filed it. Never implemented any training, never disciplined anyone, just buried it. Roland was already pulling up other branch records on his laptop. If it happened at Steinway, it happened elsewhere. Maya picked up Marcus Chen's file. A note at the bottom, handwritten, "This happened to my sister too. Different branch, they're doing this everywhere. Get me every complaint at every Metro Fidelity branch in the tri-state area," Roland said. "Past 5 years, every single one. Day 1, the media storm. By evening, the video had gone viral. Not trending, viral. 6 million views in 24 hours. 10 million by morning, 30 million by the end of the week. A black woman asking for banking documents, being questioned, being told, 'You people,' being dragged, bleeding on marble." Then the badge. Freelance journalist Nora Kim was the first to break the full story, not the sanitized version, the real one. She'd tracked down 3 of the victims who'd signed NDAs, got them on record breaking the agreements. Dr. Okonkwo spoke first, then Jermaine Ellis, then Lisa Rodriguez, all saying the same thing. Watching Maya's video made them realize the silence was the weapon. Nora's article hit at 6 a.m., FBI agent assaulted while banking while black, and she's not the first. It exploded across every platform. The video played on loop. Maya's face, calm, bleeding, professional, became an image people couldn't unsee. By noon, Metro Fidelity's corporate headquarters issued a statement. "We take these allegations seriously and are conducting a thorough internal review. We remain committed to providing excellent service to all customers and maintaining the highest standards of professionalism." The internet tore it apart in minutes. The statement mentioned allegations, not assault, said internal review, not independent investigation, emphasized commitment to diversity while saying nothing about accountability. Within an hour, hashtag Metro Fidelity boycott was trending. People posting videos of themselves closing accounts. Reverend Morris Gaines organized a protest. 200 people outside corporate headquarters by afternoon, 500 by evening, 1,000 by the time news cameras arrived. Signs everywhere. Badge or not, we deserve respect. Banking. While black is not a crime, Maya Thornton is all of us. Executives tried to leave through a side entrance, found protesters there too. Phones up, recording, asking questions they couldn't answer. Are you going to fire Brenner? How many others were paid off? Why did Lynch call corporate legal before the assault? The executive said nothing. Got into black cars, drove away. Inside FBI headquarters, the forensic team found something. An email dated 14 months earlier. Subject: Enhanced Vigilance Protocols. Corporate security to all branch managers. Instructions to implement enhanced screening for non-traditional customers making unusual requests to prioritize security and safety over customer convenience. It never said profile people of color. Didn't have to. Everyone knew what it meant. This is systemic, Keisha said, reading the memo for the third time. This is policy-driven discrimination. We can take this to DOJ. This is exactly what pattern or practice investigations are designed to address. Day 2, the legal hammer. More victims came forward, not just from Steinway, from branches in Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, New Jersey, Connecticut. Same stories, same treatment. People who'd been silent for years because they thought no one would care. Dr. Okonkwo broke her NDA first. Went on camera with Nora Kim. Told her story. Within hours, 2 others followed. Then 5, then 10. Metro Fidelity's lawyers sent threatening letters. Breach of contract. Potential lawsuits for violating confidentiality agreements. Keisha sent letters back citing New York General Obligations Law and federal public policy. NDAs used to conceal civil rights violations are unenforceable and void. Checkmate. The bank's stock price dropped 12% in a single day. Major sponsors, including 3 sports teams and a concert venue, announced they were ending partnerships. Social media accounts flooded with former customers posting closure confirmations. The grand jury convened the next morning. Federal courthouse. Sealed proceedings. But word got out anyway. By noon, the indictments came down. Victor Brenner, 4 counts. Assault on a federal officer. Deprivation of rights under color of law. 2 counts assault and battery. Maximum sentence 20 years. Garrett Lynch, 3 counts. Conspiracy to violate civil rights. Obstruction of justice. False statements to federal investigators. He'd lied during his initial interview. Said he wasn't aware of prior complaints. The forensic team found 17 emails proving otherwise. Maximum sentence 15 years. But the biggest news came 2 hours later. Department of Justice. Civil Rights Division. Pattern or practice investigation into Metro Fidelity Bank. Examining practices at 43 branches across 6 states. Looking at every complaint filed in the past 5 years. Every settlement agreement. Every internal memo. Everything. And buried in the DOJ's announcement was something that made headlines. Brenner's sealed personnel record had been unsealed by court order. Previous excessive force complaint from his time as a police officer. Internal affairs investigation that was closed after union intervention. The complaint had been sealed as part of his separation agreement when he left the force. Metro Fidelity had hired a man with a documented history of violence, put him in charge of security, gave him authority over vulnerable people. The bank's HR department had never requested the sealed records, had never done a thorough background check, had taken him at his word. The negligent hiring implications were staggering. The bank's lawyers knew they were drowning. Started making calls, settlement negotiations, $12 million for a victim compensation fund, independent civil rights auditor hired from outside the company, mandatory quarterly training for all staff on de-escalation tactics, implicit bias recognition, and federal civil rights laws, complete overhaul of enhanced vigilance protocols, federal monitor to oversee implementation. Maya's response when asked by Nora Kim, "We'll take the $12 million for the victims. Every penny goes to people they hurt, but we're not dropping the criminal charges, and we're not stopping the DOJ investigation. Some things can't be settled with money." Day 3, the town hall. St. Augustine's Church was packed. Every pew, standing room only, overflow in the fellowship hall, news cameras lining the walls, Nora Kim in the press section, notepad out, recording everything. Reverend Gaines spoke first, set the tone. This wasn't just about Maya Thornton. This was about dignity, about the right to exist in public spaces without being treated as a threat. Then the victim spoke. Jermaine Ellis described being followed through the bank for 10 minutes. Dr. Okonkwo talked about being questioned like her success was suspicious. Marcus Chen explained being told he needed a white co-signer despite perfect credit. Lisa Rodriguez recounted being accused of fraud for depositing a large settlement check from a one lawsuit, each one breaking their NDA. Each one saying watching Maya's video made them realize they'd been bought off, that their silence had protected the system. Claudia Revere, the assistant manager who'd secretly recorded the assault, spoke too. She'd been granted formal whistleblower protection by the DOJ. I was scared, she admitted. Scared of losing my job. Scared of being blacklisted. But I couldn't watch what happened to Agent Thornton and do nothing. Not anymore. Trent, the young security guard, stood next. I stayed quiet because I needed the job, he said, voice shaking. I watched him do this to people over and over. I wrote it down, but I never reported it. I'm sorry. I should have been braver sooner. The crowd didn't condemn him. They understood. The system made cowards of good people, made silence feel safer than speaking. By the time Maya stood to speak, the energy in the room was electric. Fury mixed with hope, anger mixed with determination. I had every advantage, Maya said, her voice steady, clear. I had a badge. I had training. I had institutional power. And it didn't matter. They still profiled me, still put their hands on me. If that can happen to me with everything I have, what does that tell us about people who don't have a badge? She paused. Let the question sit. Justice isn't given, it's fought for. Every day, every encounter. I shouldn't have needed a badge to be treated with respect. None of us should. That's what we're changing. Not just holding Brenner accountable, changing the system that made him think what he did was acceptable. The applause lasted 5 minutes. People stood, chanted her name. She had to raise her hands 3 times to quiet them. After, people lined up to thank her, to share stories. An elderly woman took Maya's hand, held it tight. My son, she said, voice breaking. 20 years ago, police said he was resisting. He wasn't. Nobody fought for him. Maya squeezed her hand, had no words adequate for that grief. Just presence. Witness. It was past midnight when the church emptied. Maya stood in the parking lot with Roland and Keisha, exhausted but unbroken. Corporate will fight, Keisha warned. They'll try to discredit you. Make this about you instead of them. Let them try, Maya said. Roland studied her. You sure? Once we pull this thread all the way, there's no going back. Maya thought about the elderly woman, about her son, about the faces in those complaint files. I'm not going anywhere, she said. Justice wasn't given. It was fought for. And the fight had just begun. 3 months later, Maya stood outside the federal courthouse on a Tuesday morning. Different season, different temperature, different woman. Her shoulder had healed. The bruises had faded. Her body had recovered. Other things took longer. She still tensed walking into banks, still calculated exits without meaning to, but she'd learned to carry the weight differently. Roland found her on the courthouse steps. Brenner's lawyer filed for leniency. After he was caught, Maya replied. Inside, 23 victims filled the gallery, all there to watch justice happen. The prosecutor called Maya for an impact statement. What Victor Brenner did wasn't an isolated incident, Maya said. It was part of a pattern. He put his hands on me because I was a black woman who asked questions, who refused to leave when I'd done nothing wrong. She paused. I had a badge. I had backup coming. Most people he did this to had nothing but their dignity, and he took that too. Her eyes moved to the judge. People shouldn't need a badge to be treated like human beings. When sentencing came, the judge made Brenner stand. Mr. Brenner, you were trusted to protect people. Instead, you abused that authority. 7 years in federal prison. No parole eligibility. 3 years supervised release. You are prohibited from any position of authority. Brenner's face went white. The victims exhaled. Outside, reporters asked about Lynch. He took a plea deal, Maya said. 18 months plus community service teaching ethics. Some call it justice. I call it insufficient. What about corporate reforms? Metro Fidelity announced changes, new CEO, $12 million victim fund, independent civil rights auditor, mandatory training, federal monitor for 3 years. Whether those changes are real, that remains to be seen. That evening, Maya sat at her desk in the FBI field office, late, alone, reviewing the Hartford case files. Roland appeared with coffee, pulled up a chair. You ever think about what that day cost you? He asked. Maya looked up. Cost me? 3 months off rotation, every case reassigned. Your name everywhere? That's not nothing. Maya was quiet. It gave me clarity. I knew the system was broken. Now I have proof. 23 victims who spoke, a DOJ investigation, a $12 million fund. She met his eyes. It cost me anonymity, but it gave me a mandate to fix what's broken. I'll take that trade. Roland smiled. You're cleared for fieldwork next week. About time. 2 weeks later, Maya walked into Metro Fidelity Bank on Steinway Avenue. Same building, but everything else was different. No security desk, no plexiglass, open counters, the atmosphere lighter. A teller looked up, young, Hispanic, professional smile genuine. Good morning, how can I help you? I'd like to deposit a check, Maya said. The teller processed it quickly. No questions, no suspicious looks, just service. Anything else? No, thank you. Maya walked out. No fear, no hesitation. She'd reclaimed the space. Roland waited outside. How'd it feel? Different, Maya said. Better. 3 weeks later, Maya drove to an address Reverend Gaines had sent. At the end of a tree-lined block stood a community center, renovated. Fresh paint. Above the entrance, Thornton Justice Initiative. She walked inside. Bright, open. Photographs on the walls, the protest, the town hall, the courthouse. 30 people sat in a circle, all there because they'd experienced what she'd experienced. Reverend Gaines stood. Everyone, this is Maya Thornton. She's the reason we're here, the reason we have this space, the reason we know fighting back is possible. He gestured to the walls. She didn't just fight for herself, she fought for all of us. Because she refused to stay silent, we now have proof that the system can change, that justice is possible. Applause. Maya raised her hand. I'm not the reason, you are. Every person who spoke up, who testified, who refused to stay silent. She sat in the circle. Listened to stories. A teenager stopped by police. A mother accused of shoplifting. An elderly man denied a loan. When her turn came, Maya kept it simple. What happened to me happens every day to people who don't have badges, who don't have cameras recording. This space exists because we're done accepting that. Justice isn't given, it's fought for, and we're here to fight together. The meeting lasted 2 hours. People shared resources, built networks. Maya was the last to leave. She stood at the door looking back at what had been built from pain and determination. Her phone buzzed. Roland. Dinner? Thai place? Hartford files. Back to work tomorrow. She typed back, yes. She got in her car, started the engine. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She opened it. A photo. A document. Heavily redacted. At the top, Metro Fidelity Corp. Confidential. At the bottom, other branches. Below that, 17 additional locations. Similar incident patterns. Settlement protocols. The rest blacked out. Maya's pulse quickened. She forwarded it to Roland. To Keisha. Saved it everywhere. Another text. Same number. They're still hiding. Then the number died. Maya sat in her car, the document glowing on her screen. 17 locations. More victims. More buried evidence. Someone inside had sent this. Someone who knew the reforms weren't enough. She called Roland. You see it? I see it. What do you want to do? Maya looked at the community center in her rearview mirror, at the people inside who'd trusted her. She thought about the 23 victims, about the elderly woman whose son had been forgotten, about every person silenced and paid off. We pull the thread, Maya said, all the way. Could take years. Then it takes years. She drove into traffic. The document on her passenger seat. 17 branches. How many more Brenners? How many more victims? The sentencing was done. Brenner was locked away. Reforms announced. But somewhere, someone was still hiding documents. Still protecting perpetrators. Still counting on silence. The text said they're still hiding, which meant there was more to find. Justice wasn't given. It was fought for. One branch at a time, one victim at a time, one hidden document at a time, until there was nowhere left to hide. And Maya Thornton wasn't done looking, not even close.